Thank you, Renu. Thank you so much, and welcome, Blossom and Samantha. Before I begin, I'd like to thank Dr. Mahananda Mani. You were not here in the morning, sir. Thank you so much for your beautiful premises. Agriculture College is absolutely charming and wonderful for a lit fest. So thank you very much. Yeah, he's the associate dean. He wasn't there in the morning, so I want to thank you here. So let's begin. We are very lucky here to have a mother-daughter duo from different fields, but at the same time connected by spirituality, well-being, and emotions, and aroma, and perfume. So let's dive right in. I'm going to start with you, Blossom. You've built an entire inner field that deals with aroma and everything associated with it. And you have some tall claims also, I think, which I'd like to hear about right now. Is there one single incident that actually triggered your entire journey in aromatherapy?
Now, the one incident that triggered my was in aromatherapy. One was, of course, the one that really triggered it was, now I am in the field of beauty, hair, wellness, and that, and I believe that beauty is holistic, and all of us are really, it's a body, mind, and soul and emotions, whatever we are like. So what I thought, what I've seen is that if people used to come to me that they say, oh, my skin is not good, or my eyes are not, dark circles, hair falling, those sort of things, I used to always feel that there's something more to it. It was not just external. It had to be that they had tension, stress, worry, those sort of things, which of course then I discovered when I went into aromatherapy, it went into the body and then came out as, dark circles and pimples and other things. So that is how, then I had to do a research, and aromatherapy was something that it works through the sense of smell. For example, if you smell something, it goes to the olfactory bulb. From there, it is transferred to the limbic system. And the limbic system is one system which really controls our motor organs. That is why even though we are full, we've eaten a whole meal, you will find that when you get a sudden smell, say of biryani or coffee or anything, you will find that all your senses start working. Your tongue, you'll salivate, you'll really feel hungry. So that is one of the things. The other is, of course, memory. It helps the memory, and you will find that your memory is really triggered by a sense of smell. So if you suddenly get a sense of, say you find the smell of jasmine, or you can even take coffee, you'll suddenly go back to what your mother was wearing, or whoever made this, the jasmine, the thing, that it will go back, your memory will go back. Because out of all the senses, like we have visual, we have auditory, we have kinesthetic, and then we have sense of smell. Out of the sense of smell, like visual is about 43%, and then we go on. But smell is only 2%. But this 2% goes straight into the subconscious. And that is why when you get a smell, you straight away can remember, you go back to where you smelt it, what happened. So this is how it works. So that is really what triggered it. And then I found that when we use, and the other thing is with aromatherapy, there is no chemical. We are using the pure essential oils made for us by nature, pure essential oils from the flowers, the leaves, the fruits, the barks, the spices. And those are used, those essences are used in 3 ways. One is for if you're depressed, if you're sad, if you're, for your emotions, you can use this. The other is physical, like we use it for our dark circles. So that is why when we make our products, you'll find the aroma that goes into it has to be natural, so that is going to really work on it. And the third, it is used for any stress-related ailments. For example, if you have, say, pains and aches and arthritis or spondylosis, there's no medication for that. No, you'll have to either take a painkiller. Here you can just apply it and it works, it's external. So that is really what got me into going into aromatherapy and doing things with it.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. I will have to try it.
Yeah.
And Samantha, I'm going to come to you next. You've written, your debut book is called Aribara. Okay, I read it and I loved it. It's a very wise book for a person for a first book, let me say. It's a spiritual fantasy, you would say, like a spiritual fantasy. Okay, yeah. And it deals with love, parting, grief. So, I want to ask you, why did you choose such an intense subject for a first book? Well, that should be enough, I think. Why did you choose such an intense topic for a first book?
So Manjiri, the thing is that something happens in everyone's life, something happens that actually becomes the turning point to your next chapter. It's always like books, we are also like chapters.
Yeah.
And in my life, it was actually the death of my father. So when my father died, I think the Samantha that was before his death and post his death were two different people. And somehow, I never, at that point, you know, as society, we are never trained. We are not taught, we don't teach people how to deal with grief. And so the grief was so much that I felt sick at some point. I was working, I was fine, I was functioning in the world. I was the next managing director of my mother's company. But the grief was, you know, was ingrained. It had just gone into every cell, and at some point I started falling very sick. And I think there came a breaking point in my mental and physical body where I decided that, you know, and I didn't want to go to a doctor, like, you know, they say psychiatrist and all. The trend was very much now than, you know, you have someone to talk to, but in those days it was not. It was just how do I get the business going, how do I work? And that's when I found my spiritual practice. So yes, I'm a practicing shaman. It's a very ancient way of, of healing. And slowly and steadily, I learned how to heal my own body. And so this book actually is out of prayer. So for many years, now there's been many years that I've been practicing. I've been, practicing and I've been praying. And then at one point, I was told in my prayer that I need to write a book. And the only thing I knew was a little story about a turtle and a man, which was not called Joy, but it was someone else. There was another name. And I used to tell my child, now he's 29 years old, I used to tell him this little story, and slowly I just knew that story and I penned it down. And it was a small little adventure from point A to point B where the turtle and the man went. And then my mother fell sick because, you know, as a family we were functioning, we were doing everything, and she fell very sick because my father was the love of her life and still is. And at that point she was in ICU, and meaning she was very sick, not in ICU, on the verge to get into ICU. And I remember she came out and the doctor said it was pneumonia and she has to walk. So the only way I could get her to walk was to tell her a story, like my son.
Very sweet, very sweet.
And I started to tell her a story about a turtle and a man. And that's the only thing I knew. And every time I used to, and she told me, she was the one, after around 10 days of walking through her, I used to make up the story and it used to keep flowing, and I used to write it down, and then I used to go back in prayer and I used to write it down. And my editor sitting there, Sangeeta, she was the one who edited the book, and I'm the first time writer. I didn't know. So she's like when I told her I'm writing something, I said, how do I go about this? Because, you know, honestly, my English teacher will do a flip if she ever knew that I wrote a book, because it's so bad. And so she said, don't worry, baby, just keep writing. So I wrote 30,000 words. I gave it to her, and she cut it down to 9,000 words.
Oh, is it?
Which was traumatic for me.
Obviously.
And this whole struggle carried on. So
And
yes,
it's still
that
a
was-
fat book. It's a fat book. It's available outside. Anybody wants, this is the book, Adibada. Very unusual book and a beautiful book.
So I think that, so grief was the turning point for me.
Yeah.
And yes, this book has a lot of grief healing, because now in shamanism, we call ourselves grief whisperers, which means we heal people who are grief riddled. And because once you're broken, you know how that process works through.
Wonderful. What an amazing story. And I love the bit where you took your mom for a walk and the story evolved around her. What an amazing memory for your grandchildren. And
I
for
think
all the
there's only
readers.
one grandchild. I don't.
Okay, all right. So, Blossom, coming back to aromatherapy, okay, because I'm very curious about that too. I think I told you outside that my sense of smell isn't very strong. So, before I move on to, I want to know a lot about aromatherapy, but tell me something. Somebody has lost their sense of smell for some reason, whether it's trauma or in the childhood or whatever reason. Is there any way of reviving that sense of smell?
Yeah, you can revive that sense of smell. I know, again, we'll go back to Sangeeta. She had lost her sense of smell for some time. And I think we gave her coffee that she has to smell. So coffee is one thing that when you lose your sense of smell, you just have to keep smelling it. And of course, you would have found also that you don't exactly lose your sense of smell completely. You will be able to smell certain smells, like you were saying orange, and everything used to be vanilla for her. So you have a sense of smell, but it's just that it is, a little bit hazy. So what you do is smell coffee, and while you're smelling coffee, there are certain points, like, one is when you smell something, it goes into the olfactory. So you're going to tap on that area. And the other, of course, you will tap here and then to the center and then go to the limbic system, which is at the back, that. So keep tapping those areas while you sense. Now keep doing that in a day for 5 times or something, just for a few minutes. Maybe when you wake up 2-3 times, when you're going to sleep in the afternoon. So you do that and keep smelling. You're going to find that your sense of smell will slowly revive. Of course, one way we are losing our sense, everyone loses. They say a woman loses their sense of smell faster than a man. That's one. And the other is that when menopause is there, naturally your sense of smell gets less. The other is a big shock. And the other is, even when we are born sometimes and we are growing up, these strong smells, there are so many strong smells, so they come in and you have it. So just keep doing this, make it an effort, and you will find it will come back.
Okay, it sounds doable.
Yeah,
So
it's
I think I can
doable.
try.
Yeah, everything is doable in aromatherapy.
Okay, so when you say coffee, it's coffee beans or just coffee? Oh, coffee
Because
beans,
that is
okay.
nice and
Okay.
strong. Yeah.
So Samantha, like I said, I told you off the, the stage also that I loved Aribada. What I really found fascinating was Joy, who's the main protagonist. So the story is about a man and a turtle and their journey from India to Africa in a boat. And of course then the friendship, and then I won't tell the rest because you have to read the book. But the thing is, I found that really very fascinating and very moving, and especially Ollie's last words to him. I won't say that they were, I won't say when, but last words to him were, just surrender to the energy that created the world. And not just this, there's so many wise bits in the book which I felt were very mature, coming from someone who's young, and first book, like I said. But I think these are very wise emotions. I know you said that probably it's the passing of your father that brought it on. But can you talk a little bit about the energy that you mentioned in the book? Why surrender to the energy of the world?
So, Manjiri, the first thing that I would say is that, when you pick up a spiritual practice, whatever the practice. Now, in the shamanic practice, mine has got a very Peruvian, and we don't teach. It's a 300-year lineage where we pass on and we pass on and pass on.
Hold the mic.
We pass on the lineage. The more important thing is our practice. It's many hours spent in prayer. When I started, my mother and the whole family were very worried. You know, they thought I was going to take sannyas, but I'm still there. But many hours. I have a lot of suggest, but there are many hours. And I think, you know, there's no touch and feel where you're touching people and all, but it is in many hours in prayer. And it's a very energetic, it's dealing with energy. So when it comes, in many cultures we call it, we have different names we call them, but in shamanism we call it, you know, we call it the Great One. The Great One is, it's the most highest energy force, which everyone is made up of. And everyone and everything is connected. So if you think you're not connected to the next person, you'll be, you know, we believe it is not, because there is an energetic DNA and a cell memory that is still there. And so when we hurt another, we are hurting ourselves. Or when we cut down a tree, we are cutting something very deep within us also. So this is the Great One. And the Great One actually, when you open the channel, these words are not me. Because sometimes, I must tell you, I used to write, I used to come out of prayer and I used to write, and then after 3 hours when I used to look at what I wrote, I'm like, oh my God, that's very deep. How the hell did I write that? And that was the whole experience of, and like we talked outside, I said there was another thing that happened was that, you know, when I would write about a certain aspect in the book, it's not only grief, it's also about, you know, about love or jealousy, hatred. I would experience that for 3 weeks in other relationships of mine. And it used to be traumatic for me, so it was a very cathartic book, because if I had to write about grief, I was surrounded by grief, by people coming in and saying, you know, I lost my mother, I lost my father, and I kept wondering, why are so many people talking to me about grief? But through their grief, that actually the pouring started happening. Then if I was talking about, you know, the loss of a love, like, you know, joy falls in love, and it's unrequited love at some point. And I had 10-20 people coming to me and talking about this. It was like the universe was sending, it was a lock of, okay, you want to, this is what we are going to write, and now experience it. And I used to, it was like people were actually sent at that moment to teach me what I had to write in this book. So honestly, if you say this is mine, yes, I was a medium, I wrote it, but I also am quite shocked at what I wrote, because there was something much greater and larger. And I remember when I wrote the book, Manjiri, I asked my guides, because when you are in deep prayer, you ask, and they said the change is coming. I never knew. I used to tell my mother and Sangeeta, you know, and they say, what change is coming? I said, something is going to 2024 onwards, there's going to be a massive change, and this book is needed. And my guides used to always talk about something called the superhuman code. Every human has something in them called the superhuman code. And this book, you'll not understand it. It goes like a fable, but it has the superhuman code in it. And it will unlock itself. So I believe I was just an instrument in writing this book.
I believe you, because I do believe writers are channels, and we can't claim ownership of what we write, but it's really a very good book. So, Blossoms, a question I've always wondered is that, you know, you've of course talked about smell as, you know, something that triggers memory and can give you joy and things like that, but would the experience of aroma and smells affect everyone in the same manner? And like, would, say, some fragrance evoke a feeling of joy in everyone? I mean, can you guarantee that this smell or this fragrance will give you joy, or does the experience differ for everyone?
You know, smell is something that, of course, like just say you're upset, you're angry, you're sad, and you go for a walk in a garden, or you smell flowers like roses or other things, it automatically uplifts you. And the other thing is that, you know, we say we go to a mandir, we go to a temple, or we go to a church, or we go to a mosque, and you will find any holy place when we are upset, we are stressed, tension, we go there, and you will find that straight away you calm down. Now, this calming down is not, of course, God is there in the mandirs and in the churches and temples, but it's also the smell that is there of the sandalwood, of the frankincense. So they have that calming effect on you. So, and that is one. The other, so it brings joy and happiness to most people, but it all depends on the memory. You know, so just say, you, like my brother, we never knew, he can't stand the smell of jasmine. Now that means something happened, a thing that was not very good happened when he was smelling jasmine. So when jasmine came in, I remember in the house, he goes crazy. So he can't take the smell of jasmine. So if you have, when you're smelling this aroma, if you have a memory that is not good, maybe a fight, or maybe you've seen something and it's not very good, every time you smell it, you're going to think back to it, okay? So because this works on memory, so smell works on memory. I'm going to tell you a very interesting story. Like, this is something which is real. We had this, we were talking about memory and smell and how it affects. So we had this model who was with us in our class, workshop. So she came to us, she married a very famous photographer. And he used to go to all these places and, for photography and for all the models, and he was a fashion photographer. And she used to be most upset because when he used to go, he never used to get in touch with her. So we wanted to try out the memory part. So we said, okay, we made a aroma of, jasmine and lang lang, all the aphrodisiac, wonderfully smelling aromas. We made a thing. And we just took that and told her, put it in tissues. And of course, we gave it to her also. First, we gave it to her. We said, use this when you're with him, but don't have anything that is a discord. No fighting, no argument, nothing, because then so she did. But in 1 week, she came rushing, she said, oh, he is leaving, he is going, and he's going with this model, and she's so this. So we said, okay, we took it, put it on tissue, just wrapped it, tore it up and gave it to her. Now we said, you do his packing. Put it everywhere, put it in his case, put it in his, camera, put it in his bag, put it in his wallet, put it just everywhere. So she went and did that. And you know what happened? It was really amazing. He landed, he rang her up. I'm thinking of you. The whole time he used to ring her up 3 to 4 times in a day. I'm thinking of you, I'm thinking of you. So that is real proof that really aroma has, works on your memory. So I always tell people, use an aroma, special aroma, when you want to attract your loved ones.
Oh God, okay? Thank you. That's a great tip. That's a great tip for everyone, and what a brilliant idea. We'll keep it in mind.
Yeah.
So, before we move on to audience questions, I have one request. Samantha, can you read a bit from your book? Any page that you love, or a few paras that you love?
So Manjiri, I've always followed one thing, is even though I take out something, but whatever opens up is what everyone are supposed to
listen
to.
We'll have to enjoy.
The most important thing about this book has been that, there are actually, the way I wrote it, there was a storyteller in it. I don't know if you realize that. And he always... he always said something very interesting. So I just read one of his paragraphs. I think that's what is coming. So, the storyteller got up and stretched. Let's take a break. Any questions? A young man sitting in the aisles raised his hand. Do we have to go through hardship to gain wisdom and heal? Can't the journey be an easier one? Joy and Ollie had to cover 2 continents. Joy almost died twice. Why couldn't Joy just heal in Goa itself? Why did he have to go all the way to Africa? The storyteller smiled, scratched his beard, and then said, I love this question because I too had the same queries. But I guess sometimes it is essential to journey. We need to move out of our comfort zone that shakes us up, makes us face uncomfortable truths about ourselves, and empowers us for the destination we have chosen as a soul. And very often, the destination we have chosen is a mystery. Joy physically journeyed across miles so that he could learn to journey at will from his head to his heart. Also, it was his soul's choice to meet up with Ollie and Sironka. After a pause, the young man asked again, the other part of the puzzle is why so many hardships and pain? Can't there be a happier way to heal, an easier way to live? The storyteller laughed out aloud. Like I said, we humans love to suffer. When we suffer, it feels like a battle worth fighting. And then the win is sweeter. But know that we need and choose these challenges to heal our wounds and to heal others. In turn, we heal the world. With that, they all dispersed for a short break.
Very nice.
Wonderful, very nice, very beautiful. Again, very wise.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open, the forum to the public. I have to say that the best question is going to get a book giveaway. So not this one, some other books, book hamper given by 2-3 other publishers. So let's have the questions.
Somebody else first?
Bipin, we already have lots of books, remember that.
I know. I will redonate those books to somebody.
You don't want to win the hamper.
No, I'm not doing this for books. I can donate for allowing me to ask a question.
Okay.
So I can sit down and ask? Okay. My question is, I must feel that I have a very heightened sense, olfactory sense. I smell things very sharply. But there are 2 distinct smells that I really cannot stand, and the whole world likes them. First is sandalwood, and second is skew pine or kevda as we call it. I really, if somebody, I'm openly telling this in this audience, that if somebody wants to make me, unconscious, they can put sandalwood on my face and I will really go unconscious. So are there kind of preferred senses, or am I allergic to or something kind of sensitive to those senses? What could be the reason?
Okay, you're not allergic to it, or it's not a preferred thing. It is something that when you were smelling, it dates back to your childhood. And sometimes it even dates back to when you were in the womb, Something must have happened that, disturbed you so much that you can't stand the smell of it. So every time you smell it, you just go crazy. The same thing has happened. So if you look back, go inside, you can ask if your mother, father, anything, you would have got the smell when something happened, and it's quite a deep thing. It could be like a death in a family, it could be a deep shock, it could be something at that time. So when it happens, you just can't take it. Like we would love something, and something nice has happened at that time. So the same way happens with this. With sandalwood, so we all know now that we will not give you sandalwood anywhere and we won't let you have cuss. And these are very household kind of things. And so, in a cooler, when we have these coolers, in Delhi, the hot summer, we have coolers and we use cuss.
Cuss, also the third one. I can't stand cuss.
I know. Yeah. So this is the thing, okay? Oh. So you've had something, so you should go back. And the best way we say, now it can be the most healing and everything, most spiritual, most healing, but for you, it's not going to work. Oh, so just keep it. But there'll be something else nice for you.
Who else?
Not for any book or hamper, just a question. Just like you associated smell with memory, okay, as per this particular theory, is there any something like a cheat sheet where we have something like a color theory which is related to a mood? So is there any specific cheat sheet or some where you can work or identify for this particular mood, this kind of smell or this particular flower is there?
Yeah, we do have. Now, for example, if you want to feel happy, smell orange, just take the rind of orange and you'll find that you're really going to feel happy. And if you mix it along with rose, you are really going to be on top of the world. Okay? So there is a smell for everything. So happiness has a smell. Now if anxiety is something that faces a lot of people. So for that you take orange blossom and you just rub it around your solar plexus, or you can smell it and you will find again that is going to calm you down. So smells definitely work on a mood. You can, all your moods work with smell. Like rosemary. Rosemary again is to pep you up. And if you have to be calmed, you want to be calmed, you can take lavender, which is something that will calm you. So every aroma has a certain thing that it can do for you. It can heal you, it can help you in your moods and in everything. Like we have one thing, okay, this is very simple. You use jasmine in weddings. Now jasmine, what does it do? It gives a person confidence. When you smell jasmine, it gives confidence straight away, and it takes away any depression that is there. And rose is another we use in weddings that takes away all the sadness. So we use it in weddings, we use it at deaths, we use it so that there's not going to be so much of sadness. So it works on moods, smell.
Come on this side.
Hi. My question is for Samantha. Thank you for the message of it being a journey from the head to the heart. I think I really needed to hear that. My question to you is, you also speak about surrendering to the universe, right? So, when we speak of surrendering, a part of our consciousness is also, we think about the past and maybe some fears come up, some coping mechanisms come up. So how to deal with that? Like, are we co-creators with the universe, or should we just surrender to the divine will and go with it?
Can I have your name?
Roshali.
Roshali, yeah. So Roshali, the most important thing that I've learned is that, we as humans like to always have plan B. And when we have plan B, then something else comes up. Whenever we live, things are supposed to surface, because that is how it was destined. Because the surfacing of emotions, fear, anger, jealousy, is important for us to learn about that emotion, that fear, that jealousy, that sadness, learn about it, be with that, and then move forward from that. It's the evolution of the human soul. Now, about being co-creators, I'll just say only one thing. Before I come to that, I'll say one more thing about surrender. As a human, it is one of the most difficult things to just go down on your knees and, to the greatest energy that I actually don't know anything. I know everything, I think I know everything, but I don't know anything. And now you take me on the journey. And that is the scariest. For me, that was the scariest in my path. Is complete surrender, say wherever you want to take me. Because I have plan A, plan B, I am a person who used to have planned 25th D also. It was that bad. But to come to the point and say, okay, now you take me wherever you want. If you want me to write a book, fine. You want me to go here, let's go there. And it gave me the ability to flow. And whatever came was an adventure, whatever happened was something new, but that surrender, it has to be complete surrender. To whatever you believe in, or you don't even have to give it a name, just give it. And immediately, emotions, everything whatever surfaces, you get the power to deal with it. And about being the co-creator, you are the creator, you're not the co-creator. Because the divine lives in you. So you are creating, and you are supposed to create even the mess and even the solution. So that's it. At least that's my journey.
Sure. Actually, it will be from such a deep topic of surrender, moving to something really, really banal. But since Blossom here was talking about smells, I had a question about something that as a homeowner I have been really wondering about. I strongly believe that senses drive our emotions, and I have not been able to find anything which is commercially available, so while we have business has cracked to make car spaces fragrant, like that confined space of car, you can have a good smell, you put some fragrances there. Confined space of washrooms can smell nice, but I have not found anything work for a long time for larger living spaces. Like you put potpourri, but it fizzles out after 2-3 days. So why is it that the industry has not been able to find some affordable solution for making our homes also smell nice and happy and
Yeah, you of course. Now it depends. You can make your home smell nice. You have a different aroma for every room that you can have. And also apart from that, you can also have aromas from, like in the shops. You go into a shop and you're going to find that you stay over there for a long time and you will potter around. The reason for that is they have one through their ducts. It works through the AC ducts. This is a beautiful way that you can use these aromas into the AC ducts that you have. In fact, when Deepak Chopra had visited here for he'd come to Agra some time ago, he wanted an aroma for every day. And that was how we discovered we can use it in the AC ducts, and it goes right through the thing. Otherwise, you can also put it on a light bulb when you're having a party or having a function and switch it on, and the whole place will smell. You can spray it, put it in a bottle with the aroma and spray it. So you can use it with a diffuser. Electric diffusers are there, so they will go on. So use it, but one thing is, you can't just use that and it's not going to stay, because it's not synthetic, it is natural. So it will last you for 3 hours, 4 hours, you'll have to add again. So this is the drawback for natural. Now if they want it to stay, they put a chemical. That is why now aromas for perfumes also, they don't allow you to spray it on your body, because it's got synthetic in it. So you got to spray it on your clothes because they want it to last longer. So this will last you for just 4 hours. 4 hours is max. Then you got to add again. So it is lovely, fresh and nice. So go through that little trouble, okay, to add it a little bit.
And also the nerves get used to the smells.
Yeah, that of course. The nose gets used to, but the other people will be.
What I wanted to ask, Samantha, you were talking about grief. I mean, I have faced death several times, so I have a special handling of grief. But when I see other people that they grieve, how can I help them? I mean, I can handle everything for myself, because once you are close to death, you have a different approach to everything. But I would love to understand, how can I help others? What's your experience or your opinion for that?
So, the most interesting thing I remember when I asked my my guides and my teacher that how is it that I am going to, we call ourselves the grief whisperer. Like you have the horse whisperer, we are known as, in shamanism, we are known as the grief whisperer. And the grief whisperer's only job is to be there at the point when the person is going to die. We have 3 jobs. So when a person is going to die, we come at that point in the person's life, not only to help the people who are going to be left behind, but also the one that is going to die, to make them pass over. Because there's a lot of grief leaving the life sometimes behind, and also the ones that are left behind, how do we handle it? So the first thing is that when we deal and we start working with people who have grief, and is that You just have to be there. Be present for them. Because when someone is suffering from grief, they just need another, the first thing is they just need another human being to just put their hand on their back. You know, we put it on the center of the back and says, I'm here, whatever. You break, yeah, touch them, hold them. You break, you fall. I'm here, I will pick you up. You call me at any time of the day, any time of the night. I'm just standing here for you. Through this process, I'm here. I will pick you up, and if I am standing, I am the testament that I move through grief. You will also move through grief, and I will be standing till you stand up. And whatever you break, I will pick you. You scatter, I will bring it back. And that is my job, and that's my commitment. And then there's only one more line I always say to the people: the moment you come back, and there will be someone else you will find who is broken with grief. There is I don't expect any payment. You will do the same to that. Because the human is the only one who can stand next to the next human to hold them. Because grief goes, there's no pattern to grief. Like okay, now she's going to cry, now she's going to do this. There's no pattern. Sometimes you'll just make yourself up and you'll break down again. So the whole thing for the grief whisperer is just to be. And your strength, that is where we say our practice is so important. Because you have to exude such strength of character and such strength of commitment. So once you give your word to the one that is breaking, that I am there no matter what, that is it. You don't tell a person, don't worry, when you cry I'll come, and you don't land up and pick up their phone. You just have to be. Middle night, whatever you be, and you pick that human up and you make them strong again, and then they start flourishing, and then you don't get them addicted to you. That's the other thing of a grief whisperer, because grief is addictive. When we heal grief, they always try to run and they want you to solve their problem. We are not here to solve problems. We are here to bring you back, and then you have to run. And when you start running, you'll find someone else broken with grief. You pick them up, you make them strong, and they start running. And that is the human code. That is how it is done.
No, I'm afraid we can't take any
One
more
question,
questions.
please,
No more questions. Time's up, and I wish I could do 1 hour with each of them, or maybe 2 hours with each of them. It won't be enough.
But I must tell you, Manjiri, thank you for bringing both of us on the thing. I would never have started my spiritual journey if it was not in my DNA. And my mother she is an aromatherapy guru, but she's also one of the most spiritually grounded. And I think I always say you choose the parents that you're born to. I chose my mother very wisely for various things.
You did a wonderful job.
But she has always helped me in being my teacher, guiding me through. And, creating the foundation of what I stand on today. If I say I'm a spiritual practitioner, it's because of I used to laugh at my mom. She used to be doing crystals, and she'll be doing energy healing, and she used to suddenly say, the plants are talking. I used to say, my God, she's lost her marbles, and now I'm doing the same. So I know I love my mother, and I stand here, and this book is the testament.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's really heartwarming, and I love your mother-daughter relationship and the bond you have. There were so many more questions I had to ask you, but we have to stop. Thank you so much, Blossom and Samantha, for helping us understand that everything is connected. Our emotions and experiences are bound by our collective spiritual journeys. I wish you all the best for yours, and I hope to see you back at next PILF.
Thank you. Thank you, Manjiri.